And we are back. Uh, it's been a while. And I've been thinking about you guys, if I'm honest. Like, the last few weeks, I really have been thinking about um, the absence, the fact that we haven't seen or heard from each other in a really long time, and I miss it. I miss these interactions, the engagement post, and everything about like what we do. And um, I want to say I don't want to apologize. I'm not going to apologize for my absence. As always, in times past, you guys have given me grace, but this one is I don't know. It's because could I have made time? Sure, maybe. Like, could I have squeezed some time out? Maybe. But my mom used to always say this thing that you have to give people time to miss you. And by now you should miss me because I miss you. And there's a lot that I possibly want to talk about. And I don't know how much of it we're going to cover in this episode. I hate calling it that, but this episode. But yeah, I'm excited about the conversation. We're gonna start off how we always start off with a exercise in mindfulness, focus. Let's be in this moment. Let's be present. 10 breaths. Focus on your breath. Starting now. Now that we're here, if you guys remember, we do this little puzzle brain teaser to get your mind going in preparation for this thing. So today is no different. I'm not alive, but I can grow. I don't have lungs, but I need air. I'm not thirsty, but I can die if I don't drink. What am I? A huge part of the just honing in on your creativity and finding it and being able to lean in on it and understand that it exists is there's this requirement to understand who you are. So this idea of self-awareness, and on top of that, I've always said that the more self-aware you are, the more socially aware you become. And then we get into the realm of empathy and understanding empathy almost to an intimate level, right? Like why it is important. But again, this in my head, this is a byproduct of self-awareness and positionality. And for most of my life, I've been a little taller than the average person. Not most, I guess, just the post, depending on how far you want to go back. Post high school, I had a growth spurt, and I had to learn to adjust to this size that I was gaining in those years of my life. But by the time I hit maybe 19, 20, I kind of knew where I was in respect to my peers and in regards to like my body size. So I can say I'm not the smallest of black men. And in it, I realized that how intimidating I can be, because I can also say that I don't think I have the most welcoming face. And I've always had to learn how to, as I'm aware of who I am and positionality and stature, and I'm not a giant, but how I could be perceived amongst in the spaces and places that I occupy. And I always used to think that when I would sense some level of intimidation, that it would be because of my size, because of my complexion, because of who I am. And I would be conscious of that. And as I started to kind of grow older, or grow mentally and psychologically, and wasn't in sports as much, so I relied less on my physicality and physical nature, and more about psychological, mentally, and spirituality. I start to learn that my presence is greater than the physical nature of it, and especially in spaces that I occupy. Like I've heard people say that somebody has a larger than life personality. I never thought that I did. I still don't believe that I did. I do. But as I've grown older, I realized that my presence, my energy occupies rooms. I've heard it enough to believe it, and I've seen it happen. And again, before I used to think it's just because of my size. Again, not the biggest person in the world, but and I used to always believe that, and I would never shrink for anybody. There's a saying, I think it was Jay-Z may have said it in the line, and it stuck with me. I'm too tall to act small. So, but there is a energy about me that is bigger than the stature that I think, bigger than who I am in physical appearance. It's much larger, and it assumes space, any space that you give it. And if you're ever in a room with me, I wouldn't be surprised if you felt it. And for a while, I when I would see intimidation in people's eyes, or see some sort of reservations, I would think it's because of the physical nature of me. But I've learned over time that it's the energy, and it can be overpowering to some. And it shows itself. You can visually see it when I'm showcasing my creativity, my ability to, and my creativity again usually shows itself in rhetoric, in the way I speak, the way I craft sentences, how I put words together. And people might say I'm charming. People might say that I am charismatic, how I can command the room. And I've heard confident. I believe that I am. But I've also heard some people describe it as some level of like arrogance, which I never aligned with or believe. I think you guys would say like, no, I reject that. I reject this idea of arrogant. I think I'm fully conscious of my gift, and in it, even knowing that, I still try to remain as humble as possible given my gift. But I've learned that perspective is important, and we see life from different lenses, and mine is not yours and yours is not mine. And as much as I'm conscious of who I am and the spaces I occupy, I'm also conscious of the fact that I'm surrounded by people who share the same space, and not only don't see the world from my perspective, they also they might not share the same gift that I do. And this is not to say that they're not gifted. I'm just saying that our gifts, and specifically our gift of creativity, showcases itself in a different way. And what happens when you're in a room where your creative gift intimidates someone else? And for a long time, I battled with that. How people would describe my gift in a way as if though it is a flaw, or it is intentionally abrasive. And it took me a while to understand that this idea of people just projecting their inner fears and the things that they are most concerned about, and they try to push that off on you, because when they see you, it's almost like they're staring their fear in the face and having to encounter that. And I've heard people try to convince me to be less confident, or try to tell me to humble myself. But the more I look into those people and understand who they are, I realize that they're not, what they're truly saying is, I wish I can have that level of confidence that you have. I wish that I could command the level of attention that you can command. I wish that I could command an audience the way that you command an audience. And I don't hear them, now that I see that, it's when I hear them talk, it's not toned down, Swale. It is, I wish my voice was louder. I wish I didn't have to be reminded that I don't have the confidence, or I don't have the thing that I need to do the thing that I need to do. And it has taken me a while to learn and adjust to that, because I never believed that I had to tone down who I am or my creativity to make somebody else comfortable. I wouldn't encourage or advise anybody to do that, to dim your own light so somebody could feel like they're shining brighter. And the thing about creativity is, it's hard to control. It shows up when you least expect it. And when it's turned on, it's hard to turn off. And it's important that you find people and places that are conducive to the way your creativity shows itself. People and places that help foster your creativity, and environments that allow you to showcase your creativity in a limitless way. Because one thing I don't take for granted is creativity, and I'd hate to have to dampen it or be conscious of it or put restrictions on it because it makes you uncomfortable. My creativity is not a you thing. It has nothing to do with you specifically. My creativity is not your personal problem. My creativity is what it is. And I feel like sometimes it bothers you that it's not yours. And it's not your gift. And as much as I'm saying this as if though I'm identifying you as the problem, or it feels like there's some form of condemnation happening here, it's not. In reality, I empathize with you. And I want to be able to allow you to feel comfortable enough to voice that. And for it to come from a space of like genuine like a genuine source. Like I want it to feel as if though that I do care. Like I do care to be in space, because if I'm asking you to create a space for me to feel safe enough to be creative, in return, I can offer you the same thing. I should be able to offer you the same thing. And because of my connection to creativity and the fact that I've made it a personal mission to help people connect to their creativity, I'm intentional about seeing the creativity in everyone and fostering that creativity and creating channels and avenues and outlets for that creativity. And it is always odd for me when I stumble upon people who are intentional about not creating that same space for me. Because it almost goes against everything that I believe in and everything that I stand for. And creativity should be communal. It should be democratized. Creativity should be shared. It shouldn't be hoarded. It should be transferable. It should be supportive. And in spaces like that, creativity becomes confident. And confident creativity is illuminating. It is inspiring. It makes creativity look effortless. When you see me in my creative space, in my creative element, you should feel inspired. You should feel energized. You should feel motivated. You should feel illuminated. My creative gift doesn't destroy. It doesn't allow you to deviate from your purpose. It's not distracting. It doesn't deteriorate anything. It amplifies. It guides. It encourages. It empowers. And if you feel like my creativity doesn't do that for you, then I don't know that that's a me thing. Because I know the source. I know my intentions. I know where it's coming from. And I have to be more conscious of the people that I'm around, because a lot of people, as much as they want to create space for you, it's not, they want to give you enough space to grow but not outgrow them. I think it took me so long to be able to be comfortable with this version of me, to be able to speak about my creativity and be confident in my abilities to create, to now have to tone it down, to dilute it, or use it safely to make you comfortable. Yes, I should be aware of what's happening around me. Yes, I should create spaces for the people that occupy those spaces with me to feel equal and to have opportunities. But it shouldn't be at my detriment or the detriment of my creativity. I shouldn't have to sacrifice my creative gift. I shouldn't have to sacrifice my creative abilities. I shouldn't have to sacrifice creativity in general for you to feel comfortable. And I encourage you to continue to find spaces, continue to find people that will allow you to be your full creative self, that are not intimidated by your creativity, that are not taken aback by your ability to channel it. And be careful, because every smile doesn't come with good intentions. Every opportunity isn't created or offered for you to amplify your creative voice. Sometimes those spaces are created to contain you. And creativity should never be contained. It shouldn't be encapsulated. It shouldn't be confined. It shouldn't feel constrained. And if you are an individual who is in search of your creativity, and still trying to find your creative positioning, and still trying to find your creative gift, all I ask is that as you're on that journey, don't hinder or interrupt or feel intimidated by somebody who already has. It's easier to find your creativity when you're around people who have already found theirs. And if you're not honest or intentional and authentic within your creative journey, you are never going to find your own creativity. Stop making it hard for the ones that have. Stop taking offense to the people who are living and experiencing and showcasing their creativity. I am going to end this how we started. I'm not alive, but I can grow. I don't have lungs, but I need air. I'm not thirsty, but I can die if I don't drink. What am I? I am a balloon. Don't dim your creative light. Don't shy away from creative excellence. Don't let somebody convince you that your creativity is intimidating. That is a personal problem that they have, and it's not yours to take on. I've had to learn that myself. I'm okay with being the size that I am. And I'm even more okay with the fact that my creativity, my energy is even larger. I will continue to assume spaces. I will continue to occupy them with level of creativity that hasn't been seen before. And if it intimidates you, either learn to deal with it or get out the room. I will leave you how I always leave you. Go be great.